So as far as overcoming adversity, I mean, we do that over there all the time. And I think you learn that here. That's why General Odierno, he was a commander. He's now the senior commander over in Iraq. He was the commander of 4th ID early in the war. When they went in, we captured Saddam Hussein. He was a commander of that organization at that point in time. He came back and talked to the cadets when he got back after that operation. And it was interesting because he was, at the end of his talk, he had this series of little videos, or they were essentially PowerPoint presentations with unbelievable performances from West Point graduates over in theater. 80+% of those kids that he showed were former athletes. And it was interesting because it caused a little bit of, it ruffled some feathers here that, you know, why did he only show athletes? Well, as you dig into it deeper, they're so used to, as an athlete, especially performing at the Division I level, every day, every time you compete, you're overcoming adversity, which is what you need. You need people that can rise to the occasion, step up, figure it out, and kind of drive on. So it was interesting to get that little bit of validation from those commanders that are over in theater. The next thing I said was work ethic. In my opinion, this is the advice I give to soldiers that I've worked with and who have worked for me, is if you're willing to kind of bust your butt in whatever it is that we've asked you to do, and you take pride in what you do, you can accomplish so much. When you will learn the tools of the trade, you know a little bit already, and as you continue to work in that profession or that trade set, you're going to learn those things to make you a better soldier, a better leader, whatever it is that we're asking you to do. But if you take pride in what you do and you are willing to work your tail off, you will be successful. Absolutely. When I was playing here first for Jim Young, one of the things he said to us was, preparation builds confidence, which breeds success. And it all starts with your level of preparation. Are you willing to come to practice every day and pay the price, do whatever it takes to get better, whether it's a drill out on the field, whether it's watching film, whatever it is, but you're learning every day and you're getting better every day. Because ultimately that builds confidence in you, so when you take the field on Saturday, you know. I mean, you know what to expect and you're playing at a different level because you're prepared. And then at the end of the day, that will ultimately lead your team, your organization to success. I think that's absolutely the same thing in the military for us, because the level of training that we do is really to prepare us so when we get to Iraq or we get to Afghanistan, we know that our soldiers are ready to do what we're asking them to do. I had the opportunity to serve as a basic training commander, and that was interesting. It was such a rewarding job for me. I didn't know what to expect when I went in to be the commander. So you get all these young kids coming in the Army for the first time, but they're so impressionable. And it really is the grassroots. I mean, you have an opportunity to have such an impact. You're going to have an impact regardless. It's either going to be positive or negative, so let's try to make it positive. But the two things that I would talk to those kids about, because I saw them all the time out of training, but I would have an initial talk with them, was two things. I really learned it here. Those who stay will be champions, and I know that's a common slogan within the athletic community. I think Jim Young got that either at Michigan or Purdue when he was with those organizations. And what the mind can conceive and believe you can achieve. I mean, for them, for those kids, a lot of them had come from, this might be their last opportunity to see success and to get into a profession that they can make a difference and have an impact in. So, and it's not going to be easy, so you got to stick it out. And if you make it, you'll be a champion. And then another thing for them is winning the mental battle. They're going to encounter some things that they probably thought they couldn't do. But if you already think you can't do it, there's no way in hell you're going to be able to do it. So you got to believe in it. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe that you can accomplish that task. And that puts you in a position to then be successful. If you've already lost it before you take the field, you don't have a chance. So I think that, is symbolic of work ethic. When I was in Iraq, I can probably count on one hand the number of times I really got pissed off. And I know at least 3 or 4 out of the 5 or 6 times it was because someone said to me, that's not my job. And it just sent me through the roof. Because we do so many things that are outside of our duties and responsibilities or job description, but it's all to get it done, to accomplish the mission so that we as a team collectively can do whatever it is that we've been asked to do. And that means you got to get out of your comfort zone and do some other things that may not be what you thought you were going to do, but hey, that's just part of the game. And you're never going to have enough people to divvy up all the tasks equitably. And so don't say it's not my job. That just would drive me absolutely through the roof. The last thing, and I've alluded to it already, is mental and physical toughness. I already talked about you have to pay the price, which I think physically that's what it was like here. We had a little board in the locker room. If you missed a lift, your name was on that board. So everyone on the team, when they came in the locker room, they knew that McElrath missed a lift. That's peer pressure. I mean, because you absolutely don't want to feel like you're letting your team down before the practice even starts. I like that, actually. I thought that was, it was honest. It was honesty. It was being up front. You know, you, for whatever reason, you decided you didn't need to come lift that day. Okay, well, let's let the rest of the team know that that's what you think about the team. I'm gonna have to skip that one. It's too emotional. We already talked about the chief of operations. I think one of the toughest things is, in that job, I was a lot of times the bearer of bad news. When an attack happened, we lost a soldier, I went to tell the commander, sergeant major, the leadership of the thing. When an operation wasn't going well, we didn't get a resource that we needed to support it, I went and told the commander. So he knew and he could adjust, make a decision. You're always the messenger, and oftentimes, you know, there's good news and bad news, and you gotta be upfront with the bad news. You know, don't wait, it only gets worse. So let's be upfront with it, understand why it happened, if, you know, get all the facts together. If you have to adjust the plan, make a recommendation, but just be upfront. And you might get blown away, that's okay. Don't take it personally. I mean, you have to learn that, at least for me, because in this case, you're just the guy bringing the news and then making a recommendation. And most of the time, it's just, there's so much stress and there's so many other things that he's just blowing up. I mean, that's good, he gets it off his chest. Then he can calm down and make a good decision. So one thing, when I was telling guys, the unit came in, they were replacing me, I said, hey, in this job, it's going to be very intense. I mean, you know, to some degree, if you've been here before. If you haven't, you've trained, but it's not anything like your training. But just be prepared to deliver the news as quickly as you can, have recommendations, and don't take things personally, because your boss generally doesn't mean to blow up on you. He just is, he or she is, because you're the person giving him the news. And then two other things. I think mental toughness is, for me, the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life was say goodbye to my wife and kids, because you don't know. I mean, for me, I had deployed before, and both times I left, in typical Army, we had to report at like 1 in the morning to go on a flight that left the next morning like 6 or 7 in the morning. So at midnight, the last thing I did, both deployments, was tuck the kids into bed. And it's just heartbreaking, because you just don't know. I mean, but as a soldier, you have to kind of commit to, that's just reality. You know, you absolutely know you're coming home, but you're also prepared for the fact that you might not. But you have to be that way, because you're leading men and women in combat, and you've got to be focused on those missions. You can't really be worried about what could happen. Now, you think about it, and you do everything you can when you leave your patrol base to go conduct a mission, that you're prepared to be successful, and that you're going to have all the resources you need to ensure that your men and women are successful. But if you thought about getting hit by a roadside bomb or whatever, you would be crippled. There's no way you could go out and accomplish your mission, because that's all you would think about. And so you really train yourself to get in a mindset when you're out conducting a mission, and then when you come back, you decompress.